His hands were warm on my skin, even though the room was freezing. He kissed my neck like he'd done it 100 times before. My shirt was already unbuttoned, and my legs were around his waist before I could think straight. "Just for this weekend," he whispered. But it was never just that. I wasn't his. I belonged to someone else. But for those 2 days, I forgot that weekend that shouldn't have happened. My name is Olivia Grace Bennett, and I've been with Thomas Elliott Carter for almost 9 years. He's the kind of man everyone trusts. Smart, kind, the one who holds the door for strangers and remembers your mom's birthday. He's 36 now, 2 years older than me, and we've lived together since we were in our 20s. Most of our life was soft mornings and quiet dinners. It was good, it was calm. But sometimes calm starts to feel like silence. It was in late April, one of those warm Fridays when the world smells like fresh grass and change. Thomas had just gotten a big promotion at the accounting firm, and to celebrate, he booked a weekend with his college friends. "You should go see your sister," he said. "Spend the weekend with her. Do something fun." I nodded. Yeah, maybe. But I didn't go see my sister. Instead, I went to the lakehouse. Not ours. Nathan James Walker's. Nathan was my old friend from college. Not an ex. Not quite. But the energy between us was always dangerous. Too many late-night talks, too many laughs that lingered a second too long. We hadn't spoken in 2 years. But out of nowhere, he messaged me that week. "Hey, I'm at the lake house this weekend. Come if you want, no pressure." I stared at that message for hours. I should have ignored it. I should have remembered Thomas's face, his soft goodbyes that morning, his kiss on my forehead. But I didn't. I packed a small bag, one pair of jeans, one black dress, and my red heels I hadn't worn in years. I told Thomas I'd be at my sister's place. "Enjoy your weekend," I said, smiling too hard. And I drove, heart pounding the entire 3-hour trip. The lake house was quiet. Pine trees stood like guards around it, the dock stretching out into the still water like it was waiting for someone brave or stupid enough to jump in. Nathan stood at the porch, barefoot, holding a beer. His shirt was loose, unbuttoned halfway, chest tanned and familiar. I stepped out of the car and he smiled like we'd never lost touch. "Olivia," he said, walking down to me. "You came." "I shouldn't have," I whispered. "But you did," he said, and then he hugged me. Tight. Warm. Too long. That first night, nothing happened. Not really. We talked. We sat on the porch, watching the stars. He asked about my job, my life. Thomas. I told him things were fine, but the way he looked at me said he didn't believe that. "You still wear red lipstick," he said, smiling at my lips. I laughed, covering my mouth. "Not for a while, liar." The next day, things changed. I woke up late, the smell of bacon in the air. I padded out into the kitchen, still in my t-shirt, and saw him there. Hair messy, shirtless, cooking. "You always cook shirtless?" I teased. "Only for you," he said, smirking. That was the moment, that tiny spark. It didn't burn yet, but it lit the fuse. Later, we walked by the lake. The air was warm, the sun soft on our skin. We sat on the dock, legs dangling over the edge, our shoulders brushed. Once, twice. I felt that old pull again, like gravity worked differently around him. So he looked at me and said, "Why'd you stop texting me?" I didn't know what to say. "Because I was scared," I admitted. He leaned in close. "Of what?" "Of this," I whispered. He kissed me. It wasn't gentle, it wasn't slow, it was urgent, hungry. His hand slipped behind my neck, pulling me closer. I gasped, dropping my phone into the lake. We laughed, but neither of us stopped. He kissed my jaw, my collarbone. My body shook, not from cold, but from something buried deep. We went inside. I didn't say no. On the couch, his hands found the buttons on my shirt. One by one, he undid them. My skin prickled. I should have stopped him. I didn't. His lips moved down my chest. My hands tangled in his hair. "I miss this," he said, his voice low. "You never had this," I replied. but I kissed him again. He carried me to the bedroom, slow and sure, like he'd done it 100 times in a dream. My dress slipped off. His shirt joined it on the floor. We made love like we were the only people left on earth. After I lay there, head on his chest, heart pounding like a warning bell, "This is a mistake," I whispered. "I know," he said, "but does it feel like one?" I didn't answer. The second night, it was worse. Or better, I don't know. And we watched an old movie on the couch, something black and white. I don't remember the title. Halfway through, he turned to me and said, "I can't stop thinking about last night." I tried to laugh it off. "We said it was a mistake," he pulled me close. "Then why are we here again?" I kissed him first this time. The blanket fell, his hands were under my dress again. We didn't make it to the bed. The movie played in the background as we moved together on the couch, slow and wild, like we'd waited years for this. We didn't sleep much that night, and when we did, it was tangled together on the couch, limbs crossed, skin warm, hearts beating way too fast. I woke up before him, the morning light spilling across the floor like guilt. I looked at his face, peaceful in sleep, and felt everything crash at once, the shame, the confusion, the deep, aching fear that I had done something I couldn't take back. I was engaged, in love, or at least I thought I was, but nothing about this weekend had felt like betrayal, until the quiet morning after. I dressed quickly, my fingers fumbling as I buttoned the shirt he'd opened just 12 hours before. Nathan stirred and looked at me through sleepy eyes. "You're leaving?" he mumbled. "I have to," I said softly. "I shouldn't even be here." He sat up, resting his elbows on his knees. "You're not going to pretend this meant nothing, are you?" "I don't know what it meant," I whispered. It was real, but that doesn't make it right." He stood and walked toward me, barefoot, messy-hayed, vulnerable. "I don't want to forget this happened." "But I have to," I said, and my voice cracked. He didn't stop me when I picked up my bag, didn't kiss me goodbye, just watched as I walked out of the lake house and back into the life I had broken. The drive home was silent, no music, no phone calls, just the sound of tires on pavement and my heart sinking into the pit of my stomach. Every second away from Nathan brought me closer to Thomas, and I didn't know how to face him. When I got back to our apartment, Thomas was already home, his suitcase in the corner, leftovers in the fridge, and that tired but content smile on his face. "Hey, babe," he said, pulling me in for a hug. "Missed you." I froze for a second, then forced myself to hug him back. I nodded, afraid to speak. My throat was tight, like a secret trying to claw its way out. He pulled back. "You okay?" "Just tired," I lied. "Me too. The guys are getting old. We played poker and complained about our backs for 2 days," he laughed. I smiled weakly. I wanted to scream. That night I lay in bed beside him. He held me like he always did, gentle, protective, like I was the most precious thing in the world. And all I could think was, I don't deserve this. Days passed. Then weeks. I tried to move on, tried to pretend like nothing happened, but I was different. Everything was different. I couldn't unfeel what I felt in that lake house. I couldn't unhear Nathan's voice in my head. I couldn't forget the taste of him, the way my name sounded when he whispered it in the dark. And then he texted me, "Still thinking about you." Just 5 words. That's all that took. I screened for a full 10 minutes. Then I typed back, "I haven't stopped." That's how it began. Again, a second weekend, a third. We met in quiet places, cheap hotels, out-of-town coffee shops, the backseat of his car once behind a movie theater when we were too desperate to wait. It was stupid, it was messy, it was wrong in every single way, but it was also the most alive I'd felt in years. He made me laugh until I cried. He listened, really listened, in a way Thomas hadn't in a long time. He made me feel wanted, desired, seen. It wasn't just sex, it was escape. He'd pull me into the shower with him and kiss the back of my neck like he was afraid I'd disappear. He'd unhook my bra with one hand and look at me like I was the only woman in the world. Sometimes we didn't even speak, just laid there in the dark, tangled up in sweat and guilt and longing. And every time I told myself, this is the last time, but it never was. Then came the weekend that changed everything. Thomas surprised me with a dinner reservation. Just us, he said. It's been a while since we did something nice together. I nodded and my stomach twisted. He had no idea that just 24 hours earlier, I'd been in Nathan's bed. We sat across from each other at a dim little Italian place, candles flickering, soft music playing, and guilt pouring down on me like a storm. He reached across the table and held my hand. Liv, is there something wrong? I froze. Why would you ask that? I said, voice too high. I don't know, he said, squeezing my hand. You've been distant lately, not just tired. Something's off. I wanted to tell him. Right then, rip the Band-Aid off, tell the truth, and face the flames. But I didn't. I'm just stressed, I said. Work's been a lot. He nodded slowly. He didn't believe me, not fully, but he let it go. That night, I cried in the shower while he waited in bed, thinking everything was fine. Nathan started asking questions too. When are you going to leave him? Do you even want to? Am I just a secret forever? I didn't have answers. Because here's the awful truth. I didn't want to lose either of them. I wanted the safety of Thomas and the thrill of Nathan. I wanted the steady love and the reckless lust. I was selfish, and I knew it, but I couldn't stop. One night, after another rushed hotel room goodbye, Nathan looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You'll never leave him, will you?" I opened my mouth, closed it again. He laughed, bitter and heartbroken. I'm such an idiot. That was the last time I saw him. He stopped texting, I didn't reach out, and just like that, it was over. Or at least, the affair part was. The guilt, the damage, that stayed. It lived in the space between me and Thomas, in the way I flinched when he touched me, in the lies I told so easily, like breathing. To this day, he doesn't know he still kisses my forehead in the mornings, still brings me coffee without asking, still tells his friends I'm the best thing that ever happened to him. And sometimes, when he falls asleep early, I sit in the dark and wonder how many other people are living with this same kind of secret. A secret shaped like a weekend that shouldn't have happened, but did.